Hello, everyone. My name is Dina Clemente. I am Spoonful of Healing on Instagram. That is SPOONFUL underscore 0F underscore healing. So we're going to be talking about the drones today, which I am super excited about because I have my own theories or opinions about it. I know everyone's been speculating whether this is perhaps government related, is this interdimensional related, is this a mixture of all of that? So I'm really excited to see what we come up with today in regards to the drones. Also, just wanted to add in a little bit about me. I am a hypnotherapist as well as an astrologer, and I also incorporate human design. So I really love to empower people to their own sovereignty and to understand themselves on a soul level and really work through a lot of various forms of healing through their astrology and through hypnosis, which is designed to help people work through their trauma. So I am really excited today to be interviewing with Tara and whatever she comes up with today, whatever being comes up with today, and to see what the perspective is on this. And maybe there's something that I haven't even thought about or anyone else has even thought about, what these drones are. So I am so excited to see what's going to be popping up with this. And are we ready?
Okay.
Okay. So who am I speaking with today?
Sergeant Jason Hatch, United States Army.
Hello, Sergeant Hash. How are you?
Well, ma'am.
So I have some questions, and I think you may be the perfect person or entity to speak to about it. But I know we've had so much activity with these drones in the sky, and I was wondering if you can help give us some insight on it.
There's a lot that is classified, but I am one of the controllers. It's like a video game. Those of us that are not meant to be pilots, but to control, we use the joystick. We're not given all of the information, but I know enough of what I do with my own individual drone.
Mhm. And I just wanted to ask you, what dimension are you on?
Currently, third dimension.
A third dimensional. Okay. And can you give us a little bit more insight on these drones and what their purpose is?
There's more talk about what they could be. I'm not fully aware. Me and the other guys have theories, but everybody's meant to be split up. There's not meant to be talk amongst the individual servicemen. Also, with the others that work in private sectors, we're not meant to exchange that information. All we know is we're meant to control the populace. We've been told things have gotten out of hand. The population is meant to be controlled at this time to prevent chaos, ma'am, to keep the order. This comes from beyond the commander in chief. This came from the top. We're not even sure who's at that top, but it dwindled down. My commanding officer said I am meant to follow the coordinates follow the people. Certain individuals we are meant to follow, as they are seen as disruptors, creators of chaos. So we watch them and we report back. And the drone records everything. But what has been recorded and how it is read is another sector, a sector and I am not privy to.
Is there anything, thank you for sharing all of that. Is there anything else that some people have speculated that perhaps not the, obviously you're operating a drone, but there are other drones or entities in the skies? Are you aware that perhaps that are they interdimensional?
Yes, ma'am, that is also a private program, also deemed classified. But seeing as I'm speaking through my energy instead of my physical body, that classified energy, many would say, goes back to an Area 51. But there was not just an Area 51. That was meant for the public to be viewed. That was meant for everyone to get their information about UFOs, they might call it. But it's much larger than that. It appears our governments, not just the United States, have been working with these interdimensional beings. It is how we have most of our technology today. It's how we've gained a lot of our technology. So these drones, although created by human scientists, have been utilizing a connection with interdimensional beings.
Do you know what kind of frequency, vibration, dimension these beings resided?
No, ma'am, they're classified number U-3331715 FD.
Okay. And are the drones that you're flying in the sky not only for observing some of the population, but are they meant to be seen as well?
That is affirmative.
And what would be the reason that they would want that people to see them?
Although we are trying to minimize chaos, it is also to gauge the reaction of the public upon seeing these drones in the sky. If the public were to see just as many, you might say, unidentified flying objects in the sky, which might create a different kind of chaos, but perhaps if they are privy to something that they are more familiar with, such as a drone. Almost every child in the United States owns a drone. They play with them in their backyard. So this is not something that is foreign to them. If they are to see these drones in the sky, there is less panic. But if they get familiar with these types of objects in the sky, perhaps then we could segue into different objects in the sky. Although not every unidentified flying object is of a multidimensional nature, even though they possess multidimensional technology, they are connected to that personal government or perhaps the one government.
Mhm. Now, are these drones preparing us for something to witness, to see? Or I know that there's also talks of perhaps a Project Bluebeam or things of that nature. Is there some sort of an event that we're being prepared or programmed for?
Although my sector, my personal sector, is not connected with what you might see as Project Bluebeam or these other projects, all we know is that we are trying to get the public ready for something that is different, a different era. Before my lifetime, as I might be considered quite young, but before my lifetime, there was the UFO craze of the 1950s. This is when UFOs were being brought into the face of the general public via fiction, either through the radio, through the movies, through toys, through comic books, getting the familiarity with so-called aliens and unidentified flying objects. The public was deemed not ready at the time due to what occurred during a radio broadcast. So the technology was refined. How we were to segue, get the public ready for it, was refined. And now we're getting ready for it once again to get ready for 2030.
And what is the agenda for 2030?
To have the public aligned with what you might deem multidimensional technology, multidimensional beings, so that there is less fear, so that there is a melding of the DNA of something that might be considered in a different dimension with the DNA of a third dimension to see what can be created. There's also a kickback. It doesn't matter if you live in a different dimension or you live here on planet Earth, there's always a kickback. Somebody's always getting something in their pocket. So whether it's money or power or whatnot, they're all getting a little something. So the kickback could be eternal life. I don't know. But what they do want is a melding of the people here on Earth, as they've already melded with people in different parts of this solar system and outside this solar system, to meld with those fourth dimensional beings.
Mhm. Now, what polarity are these beings? Are they service to others? Are they service to self?
I personally have not witnessed one of these beings, but I have witnessed one of our, well now, channelers. You have a channeler I'm speaking through right now. We have something like that in not only the United States, we have more than one channeler, we have quite a few, but every country around the world, every country's government has some form of channeler. What we feel after I see this particular channeler, as I have not spoken with this person, but I have seen this person, they do not look well after speaking with whatever beings that we have been connecting to. So it is my feeling that they are not of the best interest. So you might consider it something negative, but that's just my opinion.
Mhm. Are you aware of any other beings who are of a higher polarity or higher frequency that are trying to assist humanity instead of trying to create fear or having a more nefarious agenda or service to self agenda? Are you aware of any opposition, so to speak?
I would say there would have to be some form of opposition. However, I am not aware of it. The only beings that our government or perhaps my section have been working with, I might see are more detrimental and perhaps not in the best interest of the general public, but my opinions are kept to myself. If there are other beings trying to assist humanity, I wouldn't put it past it. All is possible. What I've seen, people would say I'm crazy, which is why those of us who are chosen have no friends or family.
So it seems like these drones have also perhaps contributed to some of the fires, and even people are getting sickly. Is it contributing to what is in these drones?
That is affirmative.
Hmm. And what would be the purpose for that?
Understanding how to control the population. It's not so much, let's say, physically attacking a person. Let's take the fires going on, for example, in Los Angeles, California. It wasn't so much that the drone caused the fire, but the technology in these drones is to protect certain energy signatures of the area and somehow utilize the surrounding area and the energy of the surrounding people to create something. in this case, a fire. It's looking at the world as if it were one large computer. All you have to do is input the program, and then the computer will run itself. So, in essence, these drones are dropping off programs into the people, into the land itself, even into the air, and then the program will run itself. The computer will run itself. It's rather difficult to explain, and I'm not a scientist, but this is what we've come to know. So if people are getting sick, all they need is the idea that the sickness exists. Now, there is something that can be planted in the air to make one feel unwell, but the feeling of unwell, coupled with the idea that one could become sick, exacerbates the issue and creates something new entirely, a virus where there wasn't a virus in the first place. It was created by us.
And what would be a way that people can offset those sorts of illnesses and things of that nature that are attributed to these drones?
This might sound a little spiritual, but listen to your gut. When your gut looks up in the sky and you don't feel so good, you need to look at why. You need to go inwards. You need to protect yourself, one might say. Whether you have a belief in a particular religion, you believe in the Lord, maybe you believe in yourself, maybe you believe in your community, believe in something other than what you see in the sky. This is why if they were to project a ginormous Jesus up in the sky and everybody gave their power to that Jesus, what do you think they would create here on earth? If Jesus said to kill one another and everybody believed that Jesus was real, well, they would start killing one another. So if you believe that that drone in the sky has power over you, and yes, you've seen the effects, you see the fires, you see the illness, you see the earthquakes, you see all these things, but they cannot be created without humanity. Without humanity's permission, these things cannot be created. It's a part of energy that they've been able to utilize or siphon, so to speak, from the general public. So if you stop giving your power away, your fear to these things in the sky, you don't get sick. The earthquake does not happen. The fire does not happen.
Well, that was very insightful, and I appreciate that. I also agree with you with that as well. Is there anything else that you can share and give us some insight on these drones, or are there certain, I know you can't give too much information, but are there any other plans to potentially come that we can be made aware of?
Yes, ma'am. Things as well, this probably will not get back to my commanding officer, but it was already deemed who would be the next commander in chief. It didn't matter the public's vote. Many of you probably already know that. He was going to be the commander in chief, whether people wanted him to be or not. Because he is going to be the face of what they might consider a new era of technology, a new era of healing, a new era of protection for what they say this mighty country. But it is also the era of the drone. It is the era of technology in the sky. And it is bringing technology beamed down, so to speak, into each and every individual human being. There are people who are fighting for removal of vaccinations once babies are born. But imagine now that it is not just a child becoming vaccinated once they are born, but they are becoming implanted. That is the next era of technology with the help of our Mr. Musk.
Hmm. Is there anything that you can share about him?
No, ma'am.
About Elon? No, ma'am. And why is that?
It's beyond my pay grade. I've never met the man personally. I cannot speak on him.
Okay. And is there anything else that you can share about what's going on with the state of the world? Things feel very militant, so to speak, right now, what's happening. There seems to be escalations in violence and fires, and seems like there's a lot of chaos going on. Is there anything that you can share about that?
That is the plan, ma'am. Even though we are meant to regulate chaos, at least this is what I've been told. These are my orders. Use drones, follow people who may cause chaos. Well, at the same time, the drones are aiding in that chaos. So it's a catch-22. Create the chaos. If people cannot govern themselves and they are fighting amongst themselves and they're causing fires, well, then the government's going to need to step in and regulate some of that chaos. We're going to have to bring down order. I have to leave it at that.
Okay. Well, this was very, very insightful, and I really do appreciate you sharing what you were able to share because I know a lot of this is confidential. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we end our session?
Yes, ma'am. As many of you, I'm supposing this is going to be on the internet. Um, as many of you are seeing this channeler, and I am a live human being. I'm not dead. I do work for the government in a capacity, so to speak, at this moment. And she is able to channel me just as the people that we have are personal channelers within our government. But it's not just the United States government, it's all governments. They have a type of channeler. These are just people who've gotten really good at what they do. And although they may be using them for nefarious reasons, I just work here. Know that everyone can be a channeler. We just happen to choose people who've gotten really good at it. But if people were not able to channel, the general public was not able to channel, you would not have your fires, you would not have your earthquakes, and you would not have what is going on now. People rely on others to channel for them, whether it's channeling an idea, channeling an entity, or channeling an entire fire. Everyone on this planet is a channeler. They just don't know it yet.
I'll have just one more question before we wrap up. There was very high activity at first in New Jersey. Now I'm aware that there's a military base in New Jersey where the drones really first started to make their presence known. Is there a reason why it was happening in New Jersey?
Yes, ma'am. There is a complex below ground, not just a military complex, but this is, again, above the military's knowledge. You might call it some sort of shadow government. Again, whoever it is that is above our commander in chief knows about it. And all we know is that it was put underground sometime before Eisenhower's presidency. And therefore, this is where a lot of the activity is concentrated because that's where the headquarters are.
Okay. And I have one other quick question before we go. What that you mentioned that the drones were following people who are of chaos. What is deemed a person of chaos that needs to be controlled? Are these what we would consider people who are against the system that the shadow governments want to watch or control? Or are these people who are of perhaps like a higher vibration that are helping humanity in a much more loving way or to question the systems that are currently in place?
There is an energy signature that's given off by people who are of an individual thought. Of course, there is groupthink. You guys call it a collective consciousness. But those who are more of an individual nature, they look at things outside the box and they want to share those ideas, spread individual thought, are seen as a threat.
Thank you so much for sharing everything today. It was very insightful, and I think a lot of us will be walking away with something more that we didn't know before. So thank you so very much.
It's been a pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Whew.
Oh, that was so cool.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I've. No, wait. Well, yeah, I guess I've channeled 3D. Not really, actually. Because like when we channeled Elon Musk, we were channeling his higher self. When I channeled like Biden and Trump, it was their higher selves. I don't think I've actually talked to the ego of like a 3D being, like just another human. That was interesting. It's like, I don't know, it was a very different feeling.
You
I
know,
don't
I
know.
felt like I saw him. I saw his energy there. Like in his military. It was so interesting. Like, I don't want to say a hologram of him, but it's like I could see him. It was interesting. I don't know how to explain it.
You know, that's interesting you say that, because when I did the spirit attachment channeling with my friend Tone and his son Cameron, like afterwards, after we got off camera, my friend Tone was saying the exact same thing. He's like, you were sitting there and for a while, like I couldn't look at you because it looked like it wasn't you all of a sudden. He's like, it was really weird. It was like an overlay or like
Yes. So
really there.
yeah, so his energy really stepped forward and I saw his hat, I saw his military outfit, like I was really speaking to him. Granted, he was very polite, so it was nice to communicate with him at least and appreciated what he said. But how do you feel about the channeling?
I felt like he was really young, first of all. I think he said he was a sergeant, which is interesting because I would have thought it would be somebody of like a higher rank that would know like everything that he knows. But a lot of it is not because like somebody told him. I think he was just kind of starting to put things together for himself. And it seemed like I don't know if like on an actual conscious level he knows that I was channeling him and that he's actually like said all these things, or maybe he does. I'm not sure. It was just, I don't know, that was so different. Hope I don't get the guy in trouble. Like maybe we bleep his name, I don't know.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, it felt like he was holding a lot back though. It's like he felt like he was saying things that maybe couldn't get a whole lot of trouble for. I mean, probably get fired or whatever, but it was just a lot that he held back because I think for him he felt they were just theories. Like he had put together a bunch of stuff, but it was like, I don't want to say it and then it's not true. So he just like didn't say it. By the way, he had kind of a drawl or something. I can't really place what state he was from. It was interesting.
Yeah, he did have like, I was like, is he from Louisiana? Or
Yeah, like,
something?
Something southern, yeah.
Tennessee.
Interesting.
Yeah, he did. That was a great channeling. It was super insightful. Some of it was some of the things that I felt like he was also what you were saying, like putting things together and just giving just enough for us to think for ourselves about it.
Exactly.
He didn't give us too much. He was like, I'll give you a little bit. Think on that.
Well, I encourage everybody who watches this channeling, definitely tap in with your own intuition, tap in with your own higher self. Like, what did you get from that? Maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't. But I enjoy the conversation. So definitely make sure that you put whatever your thoughts were down in the comments. Like, let's have a discussion about this. Obviously, this is just coming from one person's point of view, and it's a 3D ego person's point of view. And there's going to be like multiple points of view. There's probably going to be a point of view of somebody in like 40, 5D, 60. There's going to be a point of view of like our president. There's there's going to be so many different points of view. So definitely share what you guys got from it. I think that this is wonderful having these like guest channelers. I am so deeply appreciative that Dana got to ask these questions today, and I can't wait to like go back and rewatch this because I don't really remember a whole lot of everything, but I know that she's wonderful, and I'm thankful that she got to come on here today. And I put this out there. It's open. The floor is open. So if you would like to be a guest channeler, you can have your image shown, not have your image shown. But I want these different perspectives. Everybody comes from a different background, different belief systems. You guys have different questions. So come on here. Let's ask some questions, let's dive into some topics, and let's get some different points of view, here on the channel. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. If you are interested in doing this, like taking Dana's position, or my friend Tone and his son Tamron's position, James, when he was helping me with this, if you want to take that position, definitely email me, Tara@kittenswaitsandtarot.com. The link is down below. I'll put all of Dana's links down below too. She is a wonderful person. Definitely check out her business. And if you're interested more on like just one-on-one, like you don't want to put this on the internet and everything, I do have one-on-one channelings on my website if you guys are interested. But Dana, this was so much fun. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure. I so enjoy your channeling, so this was such a treat. Thank you.
It's all right. I thank you, and thank you guys, and I will catch you next Monday. Bye.